Hi everybody!
Hello.
Welcome to Christmas Friends Club.
Welcome to Christmas. It's that time of year again when Santa darkens our doorway.
And everybody gets sad and lonely.
And Jesus is there.
You're always so lonely when Jesus is here. It's his birthday.
Didn't you know?
Give him a slap on the back and a pat on the face.
And get ready because it's Sonic Christmas Blast.
Don't tell them!
I had to.
Alright, here comes the theme song. Do we need to redo that opening?
Why? Why would we have to redo it?
I don't know, it felt wrong somehow.
Wrong as in not funny or wrong as in blasphemous?
No, just, like we didn't do it right. Neither of those options, I guess. I think it was funny. I don't think it was blasphemous.
I can't follow your logic because we have never once had a consistent way to start this show.
I know, but it's Christmas.
Yeah, that's why all bets are off.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Let's
We're
just go then.
unhinged. We're full of the holiday cheer and also a lot of eggnog.
Have you got eggnog?
No,
No, I've never had it.
it's pretty delicious. I have to stop myself from buying it because I will drink 500 tubs and get very, very fat.
I'm assuming it doesn't actually taste of egg.
No, but it might taste of nog. I've never had nog.
No, I don't even know what nog is.
I don't think it's a real thing.
I don't think I've ever seen eggnog for sale here. But I'm drinking hot chocolate.
That's a thing that is good to drink.
That's my winter jam. Speaking of jam,
Space Jam! Let's talk about it.
I was going to say Sonic Jam, but also we don't need to talk about that. The theme song!
We already did that part.
We played it, but we didn't talk about it.
This is true.
It's just the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog theme song, but it's like Christmassy.
Yeah, there's even less Sonic music in it because it's been replaced with Christmas.
That's true, yeah, they've taken out the Sonic theme. Oh, I didn't even think about that, but you're right, and I know exactly why that is as well.
Yeah?
Because Sega don't own the rights to that music.
Oh.
That music is owned by the guy who wrote the soundtrack to Sonic 1 and 2, and he took it with him after Sonic 2. That's why every Sonic game since has had a new, unique theme song.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's Masato Nakamura. He wrote the theme song to the first... No, he wrote the entire soundtrack to the first two Sonic games.
And then he stole Christmas?
No, he left a space for Christmas to fill. But yeah, he owns the rights to the full soundtracks to the first two Sonic games. So whenever Sega want to use them, they have to pay him royalties. And that's why they don't use them whenever possible.
Oh no. I was gonna say, I bet he's living high off the hog, but it sounds like they just buried him.
So Sonic Mania uses a lot of his music, but all of it is excluded from the soundtrack album for Sonic Mania.
Oh. Is that how they get around it?
That's how they got around it that time. So they paid him royalties for it to be in the game, but they didn't pay him the royalties for the soundtrack sales, I guess.
Right.
Which is a shame. It means that, like, Green Hill and Chemical Plant are missing from the soundtrack album.
That's true. I know how you feel about Chemical Plant.
It's very good. Very good music. Oil Ocean as well.
I do
is
love
missing.
Oil Ocean.
So we're talking about Sonic Christmas Blast.
The gift I didn't know I needed.
No, this originally aired on USA Network November 24th, 1996, and was released on home video. That's how I knew it, because here in the UK, I don't think it went to TV. I think it went straight to VHS.
Did you have it on VHS?
No, this is actually the first time I've ever seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I experienced it fresh, just as you did.
With fresh eyes.
Yeah. So we can talk a little bit about a game for this.
Yeah.
Because early promotional material for this special called it an extremely Sonic Christmas, spelled X-Tremely.
Well, obviously, that's how it's spelled.
So it was definitely made specifically to promote Sonic X-Treme, which was in development at the time for the Sega Saturn. It was being developed by Sega Technical Institute, who probably best known for making Sonic 2. They also made Sonic Spinball, Kid Chameleon, Comic Zone, The Ooze.
All of those impossibly hard Sega games that still haunt you into your adulthood.
Yeah. I still haven't ever gotten very far in Comic Zone. I should stream that sometime.
Stream the frustration.
Well, streaming a game is how I push through the frustration. If I'm playing it on my own time, I'll give up when it gets hard. But if I'm streaming it, I'll feel obligated to push through and finish it.
Even when it's old school hard?
Yeah, I think the only game I've ever given up on stream was Fire Emblem, but that wasn't because it was hard, it was just because I wasn't enjoying it.
Oh. Arguably worse.
Yeah. Well, I have been told that, because it was the first Fire Emblem, and I have been told that that one is not a good one to start with.
No, don't start at the beginning. It sucks.
But anyway, so this special was originally supposed to release around the same time as Sonic X-Treme was. The game was being designed by Chris Sen, who I think is mostly known for Sonic X-Treme, which is a bit weird since it was cancelled and never released.
Right, since it doesn't exist.
He's very well known for talking a lot on the internet about the development of it. Because we know a lot about the development of Sonic X-Treme, and I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it here. But if you're interested, definitely go look up Sonic X-Treme's development, because it's really interesting. But Chris Sen also did a lot of the backgrounds and animation on Comic Zone, which were the best things about Comic Zone, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic X-Treme also had boss levels made on a separate engine designed by Christina Coffin, who, from what I can tell, was mostly involved in console R&D and making dev tools and stuff. Apparently she had a significant role in the engineering of the Dreamcast.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the game had a really troubled development. It started out in development on the Mega Drive, or the Genesis if you're American. Then it got moved to the 32X, and we all know how that went. And then it got moved again to the Saturn, and the team struggled to get it working. They struggled to get what they had already done working on the Saturn. It just wasn't. It was coming through at like a really low FPS and with only 4 colors for some reason. And then they wanted to use the Knights engine, but Sonic Team wouldn't let them. Yuji Naka actually threatened to quit Sega if Sonic X-Treme was given the Knights engine.
Oh.
There was a lot of internal friction between the American and Japanese staff at the time, in case that isn't clear.
Sounds like a fun time. Sounds like a real healthy work environment.
Doesn't it? But yeah, eventually, as the deadline for the game loomed, as the release window came to its close, both Chris Sen and Christina Coffin developed serious illnesses due to overwork.
Oh.
And the project was cancelled, which led to the closure of Sega Technical Institute.
Wow. They almost killed 2 people.
Yeah, they almost killed 2 people, and they killed a studio. That's a shame.
Yeah.
But anyway, with its tie-in game cancelled, the Christmas special was renamed Sonic Christmas Blast to tie it to Sonic 3D Blast instead.
Okay, so that wasn't an accident.
No, it wasn't an accident.
It's like, this has nothing to do with Sonic Blast.
No, but it did release the same Christmas.
Okay.
Sonic 3D Blast, for anybody who doesn't know, was it was made by Traveler's Tales, but with heavy involvement from Sonic Team. Traveler's Tales went on to make Sonic R. They had already made Mickey Mania. I think they'd already made Toy Story by that point as well, which were both games I played a lot as a kid. But since 2009, Traveler's Tales is still around, but since 2009, they have exclusively made Lego games. Lego Star Wars, Lego Batman.
There's too many Lego games to keep up with.
There are too many Lego games. I played Lego Star Wars with my brother. I got it specifically to play with my little brother. I remember we enjoyed Lego Star Wars, and then the next one was coming out, which I want to say was Lego Indiana Jones. And I was kind of excited for it. I was like, oh, I wonder what they'll do with Indiana Jones. But then I downloaded the demo for it, and it was just Lego Star Wars again.
Reskinned.
And then that's been every Lego game since. They're all the same game.
Yeah, that sounds like modern gaming.
So I just don't play them. They're not for me.
One of them was for you.
No, I don't think that. I don't even like Star Wars.
But you had fun with the game.
I guess. I do want to play the Lego Sonic thing they did. Speaking of Sonic.
Oh, he's talking about Sonic.
They did Lego Dimensions, which was a big crossover game, and it has a Sonic like storyline, which is all set in a Sonic Lego world and has all the Sonic characters, and I've heard it's really good, but I haven't played it.
I'm kind of surprised with how married
surprised
you
I haven't
are.
played it.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it's expensive because it's one of those Toys to Life series, so you got to buy the figures, which I think are really cheap now, but
still, now it's just a commitment.
Also, I think Joe has them, so I could just use his.
Do it. Go bully it out of him.
Well, I'll do that later, but for now, we're here to talk about this Christmas show we watched.
Christmas!
This special was made by Deke, who made... Did they make every Sonic show we've talked about? No, they didn't make the OVA, but they did make every other Sonic show we've talked about. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, regular Sonic the Hedgehog, and Sonic Underground.
Our favorite.
And you can definitely see that they reused a lot from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. In fact, fans seem to mostly consider this to be a part of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
I thought it was a part of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog had been over for 3 years when this was made.
What?
And this is very clearly different animators. And it has a different feel to it, I think.
It does. I thought maybe I just couldn't remember what I had watched a year ago.
No, this is 3 years newer. This actually came out closer to Sonic Underground than it did to Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Because this one was full of humans, and I was like, I don't remember that.
I think there are some humans in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, but the designs in this are definitely like lazier
Right.
than the Adventures of ones. I went and checked my DVD set because I have the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog complete DVD series.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not included on there, so Deke don't consider this part of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog either. This is a separate entity. Another connection to Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog is that this special was written by Bruce and Reed Shelley.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, old names we recognize.
Our friends.
We still don't know how or if they're related, but...
It's Babs and Buster Bunny.
Yeah, what if it is? Although Babs and Buster Bunny are related now in the reboot.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, no, they're siblings now, which is weird to me, considering
Yes.
how many... I wonder how many kids will grow up on the new one and then look up episodes of the old one and like see them kissing and stuff and be like, oh, I didn't know the old show had incest.
Kissing cousins.
Anyway, yeah, Bruce and Reed Shelley, they wrote for the original Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. They also wrote for the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. So we've talked about them there as well.
We've been talking about them a lot lately.
Was there something else recently? Because I was feeling like there was.
The Super Mario Brothers Super Show?
They've definitely written for something else we've talked about, but I can't remember if we've covered an episode they wrote for it yet.
Oh, I don't
Maybe
know.
we haven't. I've definitely had their name come up, and then I've been like, oh, I wish we could look at that one, but not yet.
Not yet, because we have such a strict schedule.
Well, it was something I think that we hadn't covered before, and they didn't write the first episode. So, But anyway, the opening reuses a lot of the opening animation from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, interspersed with spoilers for this special.
Right. Like, there were a couple scenes that came up. I was like, wait a second. I already saw that.
Yeah, and then some snow effects overlaid so that we know it's Christmas.
Obviously. How else would we know?
And then at the very end, when the title Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog is supposed to appear, there's like a lazy Photoshop swirl effect that gets in the way, and then Sonic Christmas Blast appears instead.
It was great. It was real high budge.
Very, yeah. So we open our Christmas special in Robotropolis. That's not me making a mistake. This isn't Robotropolis from the other Sonic show. This is Robottropolis, a legally distinct character.
Character? The city is a character in the way Salem's Lot is.
Yeah, just like Gotham. And we see a large number of bizarre alien weirdo freaks gathered around a giant television.
Some people might confuse them as humans, but not I.
Some of them, it's funny, like, they are varying levels of human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I noticed one was some kind of rat man. One of them had antenna. The closest one to human is this awful child who I hate.
Buck-toothed terrible child.
Yeah. Who features constantly throughout the special.
I mean, it's a Christmas special. If we don't have a child to be our through line, what are we even doing here?
Ugh, I hated him though.
He's the worst.
They could have just made it Tails. Make it Tails.
Tails is a child.
Tails barely does anything in this special.
But that means Tails would have had to have been in Robottropolis and also upset about Santa.
He can do that. He's a kid.
I guess. I don't know why, but it's hard for me to see Tails sitting in the lap of Santa Claus.
Well, maybe someone should draw that.
Somebody already did, I guarantee it.
Yeah, this awful child is asking his mum if he gets to tell Santa what he wants when Santa shows up on TV. No, child, that's not how television works.
Thank you, I had the same thought.
This boy is played by Eric Pospisil, who is known for playing young Rudolph in the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie, and Little Boy at Bus Station in I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Why is he, like, explicitly a Christmas child?
He had some other things too, but it really stood out to me that he's typecast as Little Boy at Christmas. Santa shows up on TV and is extremely clearly a janky robot Santa.
They can't tell. It's the 90s. TV technology is real blurry.
He shows up to announce his retirement, and it immediately jumped out to me that this is very similar to a scene from the original Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog where Robotnik shows up on a giant TV to announce his retirement.
It is with mixed feelings that I come before you today to announce my retirement.
I appear today to make an historic announcement. I have decided to announce my retirement.
I don't know if that was a deliberate reference or if it's a coincidence. Maybe Bruce and Reed Shelley just really like to write
a big retirement scene.
Yeah, a big, like, TV. Everyone's watching a TV in the town square for someone to announce their retirement scene.
You wouldn't think that it would be a common trope, yet here we are.
Yeah, I know. Twice in one show. Well, it's not the same show. Now I'm doing it.
It's the same show.
Santa is played by Jay Brazo. Mostly, he has done small roles. He is very often cast as Santa or a doctor.
Like, why did they go out of their way to specifically reach for a Christmas
people.
voice acting crowd.
I know, it's weird. But for some non-Christmas stuff, he was also the voice of the Toad Air Marshal from Bucky O'Hare. He was one of the main villains.
Ooh.
And he also played Uncle Quigley in the animated Sabrina the Teenage Witch series.
Who is Uncle Quigley?
I remember the name. I watched that show a little bit. I think Uncle Quigley was like her main source of like magic advice or something. I know you would expect that to be Aunt Zelda, but I think they had a male figure for it in the animated show.
I don't remember what the cartoon looked like. I don't even remember that there was a cartoon. I'm trying to see it in my mind's eye, and all I'm seeing is the horrible cartoon of Hilary Duff.
It was like 1999, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember this.
Yeah, I watched bits of it. The main thing I remember is that they used the same voice actor for Salem as the live action show did.
That's
which
fun.
I appreciated because Salem was the best character.
Obviously.
That's why I didn't watch the Netflix. Was it Netflix or was it the CW?
Netflix.
Yeah, I didn't watch their Sabrina because I heard Salem didn't talk, and I'm like, why would I bother then?
He doesn't. There's also a lot of reasons why you shouldn't watch that show.
Well, that was the only one I needed. Salem is my favorite character in Sabrina.
I feel like he's everyone's favorite character.
Yeah. Yeah, he really was the reason I watched the show, so... Anyway, I laughed when the kid got shushed by his own mother.
You're what?
Shh. He needed a good shushing.
Yeah. Everyone in the crowd is like begging Santa not to retire, but he's like, don't worry, I'm handing my job over to the best person for it. And of course, it's Dr. Robotnik.
I loved it. I loved it. I love that he didn't even bother to get a fitted Santa suit. He's bursting out of this itty bitty suit. He has the beard hanging off of his mustache. It's incredible.
Yeah, now, I will say, I really don't like the way Robotnik has been drawn in this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not because of his hairy belly sticking out of his suit or anything like that. There's just something really off about the way they've drawn his face. I feel like the new animators didn't understand the model sheets.
I feel like that's a common thing that happens with this Robotnik. He's hard to parse.
Yeah.
The eyes cannot quite make sense.
There was just something weird about him. And I like went back and looked at some clips of the original show to see if it was just my imagination. But I like how he looks in the original. He just looks off in this to me for some reason. There's just something weird about him.
Off-brand Robotnik claws.
Yeah. Scratch and Grounder are here too, acting as Robotnik Claus's cheerleaders, literally.
Hooray for Robot Nicholas!
Oh, I loved it. I love that they even had the outfits on.
Yeah.
I love that Scratch is wearing a skirt.
Yeah. All three of them are played by the same people who played them in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. So we got Long John Baldry, Gary Chalk, and Phil Hayes here as
Perfect.
Robotnik, Grounder, and Scratch, respectively.
Perfect cast.
Yeah, all three of them are fantastic. I'm so glad they got them all back for this. Robotnik says that we may notice some changes in the usual Santa service. And immediately, we go to, I guess it's like a department store, and Robotnik's there to be the department store Santa. And Scratch is on a megaphone announcing that no mothers are allowed on Santa's lap.
What kind of story went on behind the scenes?
Yeah, I want to know what the old Santa was up to now. That it was apparently, under the old Santa, it was commonplace for the mothers to take a turn on his lap.
What makes you think it was the Santa and not the mothers just wanting to sit on his lap and ask for presents?
Oh, I'm not making a judgment either way on that one. I don't know what the story was. I'm asking what the story was.
I'm begging to know.
I mean, I'm assuming it was sordid, and that makes me want to know more. But what I like even more is the implication that whatever that Santa was up to, Robotnik is the one who's putting a stop to it.
Yeah, this whole time I'm trying to figure out what his angle is. Like, why would Robotnik want to be Santa? And then we find out.
Well, it still doesn't make a lot of sense, but
It doesn't. It does, but it doesn't.
So the same kid from earlier, sits on Santa's lap. Robotnik asks him what he's going to give Santa for Christmas.
Me? Give you? Put me down for nothing. This is bogus.
And like I get it. I get what they're going for here, but I came away from this scene feeling like the kid was the bad guy.
I had the same feeling. Like, as soon as that happened, I was like, wow, Santa really gets a raw deal. We're all just sitting here waiting for a man to give us free stuff, and heaven forbid we do anything in return.
Right. Right, because this kid... Yeah, Santa suggests... Or Robotnik Claus suggests that the kid is supposed to give him a present. And the kid immediately, like, socks him in the gut.
Yeah, he punches him!
And is like, put me down for nothing.
I ain't giving you shit, old man.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
The man can't survive on milk and cookies alone. He has workers to pay.
Oh, like if that happened to me when I was a kid, I would have been like, yeah, I guess nobody's giving you anything. I would have had some introspection. I certainly wouldn't have committed assault about it, but...
I'm proud to say that my gut response usually is not to commit assault.
Anyway, Robotnik calls Grounder over, tells him to chain the kid up in his robot factory. Two things here about this. One, we never see this robot factory.
Nope.
It's not really a big deal. Like, apparently Santa's chaining kids up in the robot factory to work for him. We never see this robot factory. Sonic never rescues the kids from this robot factory.
He saves Christmas, but not the children.
Yeah, that doesn't, it comes up again once, but only when this kid later tells us that he escaped on his own from the robot factory. So maybe it wasn't very heavily guarded.
Well, you say that, but he was also being hunted down by Scratch and Grounder in a tank.
He says he was, but...
But they were right there.
Yeah, they were there doing something else. So... Anyway. But the other thing that really stood out to me is I assumed at this point that this whole thing was a ruse for Santa to capture people to work in his robot factory, which I guess turned out not to be the case, so maybe this criticism isn't really warranted. But I just thought, does Robotnik need to become Santa to chain people up to work in his robot factory? Because he's already a dictator, isn't he?
He's already a dictator with an army of robots. Why does he need children? I guess to build the army of robots.
But he could just do that without becoming Santa about it.
Without becoming Santa about it. Well, as we come to find out, becoming Santa is more just because he wants a bunch of toys.
Oh, it seems to be a large misunderstanding on his part, but we'll get to that. Anyway, also I noticed this is not something that just happens here. This happens throughout the show. But we get the like Photoshop swirl with a whoosh sound effect as a transition a lot.
Uh-huh.
This is a common transition on Sonic Underground, and apparently it was pioneered here, so
Pioneered?
yeah. Oh, I hate it. It happens constantly in Sonic Underground. They just swirl the screen with a cheap effect and either play just a random guitar strum or a whoosh sound.
No, we have to have a logo popping out at us and something going like diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle. That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's the only swirling transition I'll accept. The Batman one. That's the only good one. This scene now blew my mind apart.
Which scene is that?
Sonic is here, inexplicably talking to Sally Acorn from a different show.
Okay, so I'm not crazy in being like, what Was she here before?
She's never been here before, no.
So this really is just a meeting of the worlds.
Yeah, for no reason, because she's such a small part of the of the special anyway.
They didn't even have her read any lines.
I know. I've written here in my notes. This is what I've written. Sonic tells her they've agreed not to give each other presents this year and speeds off before she has a chance to hire a voice actor. Yeah, she has no lines. Presumably, because, I mean, they have brought back all the old actors for this, and I'm assuming this special didn't have the budget for Kath Soucie.
Probably not.
It's mostly using the cheaper Canadian cast of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, so I'm assuming they didn't want to bring in a Californian, probably union actor.
Ugh, not a union. We're gonna have to treat her fairly.
Yeah. But I don't know why they chose to include her at all. She looks out of place.
She does look extremely out of place, but they needed a way to ham fist that ring plot in there.
Yeah, well, we'll get on that.
We certainly will.
But yeah, I did notice that they have colored her slightly differently. Her colors are still more drab than all the other colors in this show.
But her hair and fur color are different now.
Yes, she is pink. And that is the color scheme that she had in the pilot episode of the show that she was in. So they've obviously used the colors from an earlier model sheet for her. And that's why she's not the same. She's not brown like she was in her show, but she's not as bright as everybody else in this show either.
No.
She's still a drab pink.
A drab pink, voiceless creature.
And this is where Tails shows up.
And Sonic blasts right by him, too.
This is where we get our only recast of the special. Because Christopher Welch, who played him in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, had aged out of the role by the time they made this.
Oh, no.
So we have Tails played by Chris Turner, who didn't do a lot, but did do more than Christopher Welch did. He also played Yuli in Ronin Warriors and Yotaro in Ranma 1/2.
I've heard of those things.
Yeah, he's in a few other things as well, but he didn't keep acting once he aged out of child roles, from what I could tell.
He got a real life.
But if I remember rightly, Christopher Welch never did any acting outside of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I think it was the only thing he did.
I don't know why that's very endearing. Like, he just shows up to be this cute little fox boy and then disappears.
Yeah. The animators on this clearly didn't understand how Tails' tails worked, so whenever he's flying, they look ridiculous.
To be fair, how do Tails' tails work?
Well, they're supposed to work like a helicopter blade, and I feel like that should be obvious.
It is, but like, when you think about in real life, none of it makes sense.
No, but the animators here, instead of drawing them like a helicopter blade going around, they've drawn it like a tornado.
Yeah.
Coming off his butt. It just looks really silly. So Sonic is off to buy Princess Sally a gift, despite saying that he wouldn't. Because last year she said she wouldn't, and then she bought him a ring.
This ring will feature heavily in the plot for some reason.
Yeah, and then he, like, as he's talking about it, he randomly jumps up and hangs from a tree branch for no reason.
So that a talking bird can admire it.
Yeah, just so that a talking bird can hop out of its nest and say, "Hey, nice ring that you were just talking about."
Right.
You can't see the ring on his hand in any shot where it's not mentioned. So
Right. Nice Chekhov's gun on your hand there, Sonic.
I don't think it was even there until after the bird commented on it. So
It wasn't.
yeah, this bird, by the way, played by Tabitha St. Germain, who we've talked about before.
Yeah.
She is Cootie Pie Cooper.
Yes.
Yeah, we liked her as Cootie Pie.
We did. Cootie Pie is an icon.
Don't like her as much as this bird, but she still does fine.
Well, that's because the bird doesn't need to exist and has no fun lines.
Yeah, I did see fans on the wiki, I think, in the trivia section, speculating that maybe this bird is supposed to represent the flickies in Sonic 3D Blast.
I had that thought as well.
I don't think they thought that far ahead.
That's fair, but it did give me flicky vibes. But it might literally just be because it's a small bird in the Sonic universe.
And it's blue, so...
And it's blue.
Yeah, the bird comments on the strange symbol on Sonic's ring. Sonic doesn't know what it means, and neither did Sally.
One thing that kept tripping me up here is that Sonic keeps referring to her as Sal,
What's that squiggle on it mean?
I don't know. Neither did Sal.
and I
Oh,
had
yeah.
completely forgotten since the scene before, and I thought he's talking about, like, Big Sal the pawnbroker gave me this ring. I'm like, what is this unhinged plot?
I prefer that idea.
It's not a gift from his girlfriend. It's just a random guy he knows.
Oh, you know what's frustrating about this?
What?
This would have been the perfect time for them to finally introduce Amy into a cartoon, wouldn't it?
You would think.
She'd been around for 3 years by this point. She's in the comics. She's been in several games.
But what about the fans of Sally?
Oh, who cares about them?
All 10 of them.
Oh, there's way more than you think there is.
Oh no, I don't doubt it. She's a busty squirrel woman.
There are still calls for Sally to come back to this day.
I don't doubt it for a second.
Good luck to you all. I don't care if Sally comes back. The thing is, I think if Sally did come back, they would retool her to the point where I would probably like her, because they're quite good at characters now.
Yeah. They got a better writing team.
They got a better writing team. They have better character designers. Like, all the new characters being introduced now in the comics and stuff look like Sonic characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my main complaint with Sally, is that she does not look like a Sonic character.
Main complaint.
No, well, yeah. Yeah, I guess I just think she's dull. I just think she's boring.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Anyway, no more Sally rants until she comes back later.
It is immediately ignored.
Back in Robotropolis, Scratch and Grounder are going door to door collecting gifts for Santa, and they knock on the door of this guy who tells them he's lost his job, his wife is sick, he's sold all of his furniture to pay bills, and his house is empty. So they decide to take his whole house as a gift for Robotnik.
Yeah.
I have left a note for myself here to check in later as to whether or not this gets resolved. I can now say that it did not.
No, that man is still homeless to this day.
He's still, even if Sonic gave him his house back, which we don't see happen, he's still got no job, a sick wife, and sold all his furniture to pay his bills, so...
Yeah, he's still living a sad life at present.
I need a It's a Wonderful Life spin-off about this guy.
About this strange little man.
Yeah, strange little jaundiced man.
He reminded me of someone, but I could not think who, and it's gonna kill me until I die.
I can't help you.
I know.
He looked a little bit like the 7-Up logo guy if he got electrocuted.
I don't think that's it. Let me see. Wait, the 7-Up logo. Oh, they got
Yeah.
a new one after Cool Spot, right?
Yeah, it's not... I think his name is Fido Dido. He's designed by the woman who created Pepper Ann.
Okay, no, it's not this guy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. If you think of it later, I'll put it in here.
I don't think I will. It's gonna haunt me.
Anyway, Sonic and Tails find that all the stores are completely empty, and out back, there are robots loading gifts into a truck for Robotnik Claus, which is how they learn about it.
Right, they're here just coincidentally.
Yeah, shopping in Robotropolis. They've headed to the capital of the dictator to do their Christmas shopping.
Yeah, it's the only place with good stores.
And this is where the kid shows up again. We last saw him being dragged off to be chained up in the robot factory, but now he's just calling out to Sonic from an alley.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, isn't he supposed to be working in the robot mines or something?
Yes, same. But he does have one little line to just be like, oh, well, yeah, I escaped from that.
Robotnik Claus sent me to a robot factory, and I escaped.
I hate him. I hate this kid. I hate the way he looks. I hate the things he does.
I hate the fact that he is.
he has this giant dangling lower lip that bothers me consistently.
He's annoying. He's not good.
So yeah, Scratch and Grounder show up in a machine, allegedly chasing this kid down, even though we just saw them knocking on people's doors asking for gifts. And they just have the fake Santa robot in the machine with them.
Yeah, he's part of the gang now.
And then they just explain in Robotnik's entire plot to Sonic for no reason.
Oh, I just had a thought about this show continuing and Santa Robot is just part of the gang now.
That's the first. You remember just recently we talked about the idea of Scratch having two sidekicks?
Yes.
That's the first one. Fake Robot Santa.
Good.
I did think it was weird that they just show up and explain Robotnik's entire plot to Sonic, but it's in character for these two idiots, so...
And it's also with the conceit that they're about to kill him.
Yeah, that too. Although, you know, they should know by now that they're not.
Scratch and Grounder, they'll never not know.
This was one of the dumbest Eggman contraptions I've ever seen.
Where they just drop a box on him?
Well, it's a crane with a magnet at the end of the arm with a metal spiky Christmas present dangling from the magnet, which I guess the idea is that they drop it and then use the magnet to pick it back up again.
I guess.
And I know the only reason it's designed like that is so that once they drop the present, Sonic can use the magnet to suck them out of the cockpit.
Right.
But it's just such a strange design.
I don't know, Robotnik's had some wacky ones over the years.
But usually they feel more functional than this.
True.
Like, imagine if the big swinging ball on a chain was instead a metal Christmas present on a magnet on a chain.
I love it.
You would.
I want that to be canon. I want there to be a Christmas ROM hack.
All right, get on that, Christmas ROM hackers. There's got to be one.
One specifically Christmas-themed ROM hacker.
Yeah, who only does Christmas-themed ROM hacks.
I don't care what game it is, but it better be Christmas.
There's got to be a market for it. There's so few Christmas-themed games out there.
An extremely niche market.
I don't know about you, but watching Robot Santa get trashed here, I kind of felt bad for him.
It's turn. I time in my reindeer and put my red suit out to pasture.
Yeah, he had a rough life. He was born to be a puppet, and then he immediately died.
Like, he's not evil. He's just an idiot robot.
Yeah, he just recites the same lines over and over.
Yeah, even here in Scratch and Grounder's machine, he's just repeating stuff. He doesn't
Poor
know what's
guy.
going on. And
No.
then he dies.
We never see him get reassembled.
No, because Scratch and Grounder reassemble themselves.
Like 5 times in this episode.
But Robot Santa doesn't seem to fully know what's happened. Just, I don't know, something sad about it to me.
Something bleak about it.
Yeah. But Sonic shows up dressed as Litter Patrol and does his Bugs Bunny routine. Tells Scratch and Grounder that he's going to find them 10,000 Robotnibucks for littering. This is another thing I noticed in the trivia section on the wiki. It was like, there's a mistake in this episode because he says Robotnik bucks when the rest of the show, the currency is Mobiums. And I'm like, you guys need to realize it's not the same show.
But it is! But it is!
There was no Robot-tropolis in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. He didn't have a city. He just had his house. Which, by the way, is different in this.
Sonic Christmas Blast is the metaverse of Sonic cartoons.
You mean it's full of, like, weird, legless people and no one wants to be there?
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm implying.
Yeah, okay. So does that make Robotnibucks a cryptocurrency?
Sure.
Mobiums is the real money and Robotnibucks is the crypto.
It's the Dogecoin of the Sonic universe.
Yeah, Sonic says that he'll forget about the fine if they tell him where the real Santa is. So they do it, of course.
Why would anyone but Sonic the Hedgehog want to know that?
I know. That's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, but I'll let it slide because it's Scratch and Grounder. They are canonically that stupid, so it's fine. So yeah, this is where we go to Robotnik's castle, which is notably not his fortress from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which I was really upset by.
No, because he's getting it modified to have 1,000,000 chimneys.
Yeah. But do you remember his fortress from Adventures?
I sure don't.
It's like, I'll show it to you. You'll remember it as soon as you see it. It's got such a specific design. That's why I was upset not to see it here. Here it is, here it is, here it is. God, I'm laughing just seeing it again.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty good.
For the people who can't see it right now, it's I guess it's like a 2-floor building with really large wide roofs on each floor and a telescope type thing sticking out the top. And then to the right of it is just a large golden naked statue of Robotnik raising one fist to the air and screaming.
Goals.
It's very good.
It's pretty good.
You can understand why I was sad not to see it here.
I can, but at the same time, Robotnik building a fortress with 1,000,000 chimneys because he wants everyone in the world to bring presents down them is one of the most incredible long cons.
Right, so yeah, he's demanding more chimneys.
More chimneys! More!
He specifically says he wants thousands of chimneys. So all of his robots are out in force building chimneys all over the fortress. And you know, there were actually some robot designs here that I thought were pretty cool. It's a shame that the camera just kind of blows by them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some of the designs of these chimney building robots were probably the one thing I liked about this short artistically, I think.
Chimney building robots.
Yeah, he's in his helicopter because he has that now with one robot, and he's telling this robot that he wants enough chimneys for every citizen to come down one on Christmas night and bring him presents. Specifically, a unique chimney for each citizen.
This is my chimney. It belongs to me.
I think it's unclear if he understands how this works.
Elaborate.
I don't know that Santa has really grasped. I meant to say Robotnik, but I guess he is Santa. I don't know if he's grasped how this whole Christmas presents thing works. Like, every person doesn't need a unique chimney.
Yes, they do. So that everybody can deliver it at once instead of having it just like a big long line of people queuing up to be the next Santa.
I just really like the idea that he just apparently heard this whole chimney thing and got really fixated on it.
It's not even about the presents. He just wants the chimneys.
Like, I don't know that Sonic even really needs to do anything about this. This seems like a plan that's going to fall apart on its own.
Yeah, I mean, his robots have stolen pretty much everything from town anyway. What's there to deliver?
That's the thing. Like, he's already got all the presents. But he's just really focused on the chimney part.
I just want my new friends to slide down the chimney and greet me.
Then he's just standing there dressed as Santa in his living room as they all come out the chimneys, and he's just kind of like, what happens now?
Milk and cookies, or is that I don't know how this works yet.
They all get down the chimney and he gives each of them a glass of milk and a cookie.
Yeah! That's what Santa gets!
So Scratch and Grounder show up to report back to Robotnik, tell him what happened. Meanwhile, Sonic and Tails arrive at the cave where Santa's being held. The ice cave.
The cave where Santa's being held. Why is everybody always kidnapping Santa Claus?
Oh yeah, I guess Cooper did it too, huh?
Sure did. And this time we don't have Toad to save the day.
When they get to the cave, they find a bunch of SWAT bots. So SWAT bots are a thing from the same show that Sally comes from, but these ones don't look like the ones from that. They just have the same name, but they're completely new robots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, because there's a few, like, Robotropolis was the city from Sally's show as well. This is Robottropolis, but it's clearly, they're just kind of name-dropping things from both the shows they made.
Mm-hmm.
They're no longer obligated by ABC to keep the two shows separate, so they're just letting things bleed between them.
I just got really fixated on the idea of a metaverse with Robot Santa as a sidekick, and as the series goes on, they start bleeding together in more and more chaotic ways.
Or like more and more things from the other show start leaking in.
Yeah, sometimes things just get mashed together inexplicably.
Sometimes Antoine's there instead of Tails, and no one questions it.
They still call him Tails, but it's clearly Antoine.
So Sonic cuts a hole in the ice underneath the ice cannon, so the robots fall in. And like a giant seal pops out.
Yeah.
And he seems happy about it.
Does he? I didn't think he looked very happy.
No? Well,
No.
Sonic smiles and like waves to him. It was just really weird.
I think Sonic might not be the best at reading the room.
It was really weird, and it's not even the weirdest thing that happens. Like, I don't know, when this seal popped out, I expected the seal was gonna... Like, maybe the seal would chase off the rest of the robots or something, but it just goes away.
Goes right back.
Oh, inside the cave, Sonic... I guess the implication is that he's tricking the robots into shooting each other instead of him. But we don't see that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real with you. This is the part of the episode where I started losing my mind.
Yeah, he like draws all of the robots to fire at him, and we see all of the robots fire their guns, and then we see Sonic dodge the bullets, and then he like smiles about it, and then no one's shooting at him anymore. But we didn't see any of the robots get destroyed. So I'm assuming that they shot each other instead of him.
Sure, let's go with that.
It's either that, or the other explanation I have is that each robot only had one bullet, and once they'd all fired once, they were just kind of like, oh, well, all right.
I guess Sonic wins. We've got no recourse for this.
Yeah, let's go home. So Sonic frees Santa, takes him back to his workshop, where an elf shows up. This elf is also played by Tabitha St. Germain.
I liked that there was like a water tower that had Ho Cubed written on it.
I didn't actually notice that.
It was a choice, and I liked it.
That's pretty funny. I was just thinking, like, if it was me, I would have wanted to try and make it like an H2O joke.
H2Ho?
Yeah, I don't know how I could... I don't know how you could have formatted that. Because if you put the 2 into Ho, it really is just H2O, so... Or maybe I would put H2O, but I would put it like 3 times. So it's like ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I would have done.
It would be hard to like write that instead of it just being H2O.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean H2O 3 times. The whole thing 3 times.
Oh no, that doesn't read as clearly.
It would definitely have to be a lot smaller because then like from a distance it would look like ho ho ho, but then you look closer and each one actually says H2O.
Oh,
You see what I
visual
mean?
gag.
Yeah. Get it?
No.
Well, someone will. Yeah, this elf comes out to tell them that Robotnik Claus has taken everything, and Santa gives up. He's done.
Santa can deliver toys to every child in the world in one night, but this is too big of a task for him.
That is what stood out to me because he, like, as far as Santa's concerned, Christmas is ruined and he doesn't want to do anything about it. Sonic has a plan, but Santa thinks it's dumb. He says, like, even though he usually, like you said, he usually does this all in one night, but he's insisting now that this time, if they start now, they won't even be half finished by the 4th of July. Which would make sense if Sonic's plan was like remake all the toys, I think. But that's not even what Sonic's saying. Sonic is just saying steal them all back from Robotnik and deliver
Right.
them.
I feel like that's pretty feasible.
Yeah. I think Santa really did want to retire the entire time.
I mean, he does retire at the end.
But I really, like, from this point onwards, the whole time I'm thinking everything Santa does, it feels like he is trying to fail so that he doesn't have to do this anymore.
Right. So then people don't want Santa Claus because they're so disappointed in him and he can just quietly disappear.
Yeah. It's like, well, if this goes wrong and Christmas is ruined, I can't possibly be blamed for it.
I can't show my face in this town again.
Anyway, suddenly Santa notices Sonic's ring, and apparently it's some kind of answer to everything.
I got so excited about this because I thought it was implying that Santa was like an amateur archaeologist in his spare time.
No, he just saw it while it was in his cave prison.
I was so disappointed in that revelation. Like, what hobbies would Santa Claus have, if not being an amateur archaeologist?
He's got to be doing something. What do they do at the North Pole? It's all like science stations, right? Oh no, it's Antarctica.
It's the same thing. It's cold on the other pole.
Yeah, he's probably doing science year round.
Yeah, probably creating elves, scientifically.
Oh, that's probably what he did do. You're right. Flying reindeer.
Santa's a mad scientist.
They're all genetically engineered. They've got like bat wings.
Nobody can see them because he's so fast and they're so high up, but if you look closely, they're monstrosities. They have like 6 legs.
They don't actually fly, they just jump like fleas because they've got flea legs.
From rooftop to rooftop, they bound like majestic fleas.
Santa apparently just saw this symbol on the wall in the ice cave while he was imprisoned. So he takes Sonic back there and tells him that apparently whoever has that ring can unlock the secret to ultimate velocity. And Sonic is really excited that after all these years he can finally get the power of super speed.
That he's already had.
Already. So now he has some trials to do. First, Sonic must climb Ice Pick Peak, which he just does in like a second. He just runs up the side of it.
Right, there's nothing up there for him to acquire. There's nobody there to take note that he's done it. He just does.
No, and then the next challenge is that he has to snowboard down Calamity Cliffs. So this ancient prophecy involves a snowboard challenge. I think Santa is just making this up as he goes.
He's just instilling him with the Christmas spirit so that he can run fast all on his own.
No, my takeaway was that he is stalling for time.
So Christmas can be ruined?
Christmas can be ruined. He's deliberately wasting Sonic's time with challenges he doesn't think are possible.
Okay, I like that one better.
Scratch and Grounder are on the snowboard track, setting up a giant bear trap, but Sonic sees them and knocks them into it instead. And then this is where we learn that actually the snowboard challenge is some kind of triathlon.
Thank you! Thank you! That stood out to me so bad.
Because Sonic hops, there's just a hang glider?
Floating there!
Yeah. It's not even like a good hang glider. It looks like someone made it in their basement. And he grabs it, soars over the robots as they're arguing, drops his snowboard on them, which was clearly a crime of opportunity. and then he like drops off the hang glider onto a bike that's just there.
Yeah, ancient prophecy, you have to be prepared.
Ancient prophecy, snowboard onto hang glider onto bike. And then he just like rides through some ice floes that are crashing into each other. And then there's a cave that's only tall enough for the bike, so he leaps over while the bike goes through it. And then he rides through a lake, catches a fish in his teeth, and crashes into a polar bear who ends up with the fish. My note here is, what on earth is going on?
Stalling for time.
I don't know what was happening here. It's just things happening.
Yeah, it's just using up some of our screen time.
Yeah. And I love, like, it just cuts directly from Sonic riding his bike off into the distance to Santa telling him he
Won the power of ultimate velocity, supersonicness, and extreme speed.
Those things that Sonic is not known for.
like, how did he win this? We didn't see him get it. We didn't see anything happen.
There wasn't a ray of light. There wasn't an explosion.
Santa has just decreed that he has it now.
I swear you have it, Sonic.
Like, was it Santa's choice?
It's actually Santa's ring.
But then, yeah, Santa's like, yeah, oh, well, you did it. You have the powers now. But it's too late.
Oh, we only have about 5 minutes. Christmas is ruined. Let's just stay here.
Oh, if only you'd got it like 2 minutes ago. Oh, but you were just too late. Well, I've already got my pajamas on, so...
If you'd just been a little bit faster on the hang gliding part, we probably could have done it, but...
Dang. Oh well, off to bed.
I guess it's retirement for me. I guess it's Florida and sun and sand. How dreadful.
But then Sonic says there are still a few minutes left, and he dashes off. He steals all the presents from Robotnik, including Christmas decorations and his clothes. Not sure why he stripped him naked, but...
Just to humiliate him.
And that robot. This is the same robot that was in the helicopter with him. Mm-hmm. That comes in and tells him that Sonic has stripped him down to his skivvies. I couldn't find out who plays this robot. He's just kind of like a green lump robot. Should have been Coconuts, in my opinion.
I mean, everything should always be Coconuts.
Coconuts is sorely missing from this.
Coconuts is insane, and that's why he's the best.
Yeah. We gotta watch more of this, of the actual show that this is cribbing from. Like,
I really liked the first half of this episode, when it felt more like the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic zips around the entire world delivering all the presents he stole from Robotnik. He even decorates this idiot kid's tree for him. I hate this kid.
When we see that kid again and he's sitting inside in all of his winter gear, I was so ready to make fun of this nerd. And then I look at myself in bed under the covers with a hoodie and big socks on. I'm like, wait a second. I'm that kid.
Yeah, but he was wearing like a woolly hat and a scarf.
Oh, as if I wouldn't. As if I wouldn't if I went to sleep with a scarf on, I would strangle myself. That is the only thing stopping me.
Yeah. Also, oh boy, I love Sonic goes to give presents to Sally, who, despite being a princess, we know that she's a princess in this world too because he keeps calling her Princess Sally. Apparently, she is spending her Christmas morning sadly huddled alone by a campfire in the snow in the woods.
Yeah, what's not royalty about that?
And like, when I say sadly, that's not my interpretation. She's sitting there with like her cheek resting on her hand and she's like sadly just staring at the campfire as the sun comes up. And it's actively snowing. She's not just sitting in the snow. It's snowing on her.
She's been outside all night.
She's wearing nothing but a pair of boots. Like, who is this homeless lady that Sonic's dating? This mute homeless woman. So Sonic dumps a bunch of presents on her and runs away before she can require an acting credit.
I love that he pauses, gives her a kiss on the forehead, and then buries her under gifts and runs away.
Yes. No. He buries her in gifts first, and then he takes one gift off of her head. He just removes the gift from her head so that he can hold some mistletoe above her and give her a kiss. And then he gently places that gift back on her head, burying her again. And
Just to
then
really
leaves.
make sure she doesn't have a chance to say anything back.
It's like, yeah, well, that's where you belong, under the gifts. Goodbye.
Anyway, I'm Santa now, so have fun alone on Christmas.
Yeah.
Go back to your sad campfire.
That's okay. So this ending was wild. Santa is so impressed with Sonic that he uses this opportunity to retire for real, forcing the job of Santa onto Sonic forever. I'm telling you, Santa hated his job and he wanted out.
Yeah, that's the only takeaway I get.
He's been looking for an out for years, and Robotnik finally gave him one, and Sonic came along and almost ruined it. So now Sonic is Santa.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't know, the person who delivers your gifts every year is Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's how this ends, with Sonic becoming Santa, which is just about the weirdest ending I can think of.
Right.
Imagine if the Mario one ended with Mario becoming Santa.
Mario isn't fast enough to deliver all the gifts.
What if this short really took off and Christmas became a Sonic-centered holiday?
Your dream?
No, that's my nightmare.
That's not true.
If Sonic's gonna have a holiday, it's gotta be in the summer.
I've read your fanfics. I know what you want.
Oh, please. I want to write fanfic that continues from this now. Where Sonic is now Santa.
He's burdened with that job.
It's just so weird. What a weird thing to... Why would they think that was a cool ending?
I don't know.
I don't want Sonic the Hedgehog to be Santa now.
Right. We love Sonic because he was our edgy 90s bad boy, and now he's Santa Claus.
We love Sonic specifically because he's not Santa.
Things I like about Sonic the Hedgehog, not Santa Claus. Runs fast, is a buzzsaw.
Runs fast, blue, not Santa. I don't know what you were thinking here, Bruce and Reed Shelley. This is nuts. Did Sega ask you to do this? I can't imagine they did.
Blink once if no, twice if yes.
I mean, this is Sega 2 years before Sonic Underground, so we know they weren't paying attention.
Right.
They didn't care what people were doing with their property at this period. They were just like, oh, you want to make a Sonic the Hedgehog thing? How much money are you going to give us? That's fine, do it.
Sonic the who?
What's that? Oversight? Nah, whatever.
We trust you. Blue guy delivers presents.
Somebody wants you to check over this new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. They just fast forward it to make sure he's blue all the way through.
Wait a second. He's green.
No, sir, that's a tree.
Oh, thank you, John. I frequently get the two confused.
Well, that's the end. That's how it ended. Sonic is
Yeah.
Santa.
Now and forever.
Yeah. Oh, what a weird short. What a weird Christmas.
It was one of the weirder Christmases.
I can't believe I was aware of this coming out at the time, but at the time I had a little period, I guess between Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic Adventure 2. There was a little period where I wasn't really paying attention to Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
I did play Sonic 3D Blast, but I didn't like it very much. I liked the music.
Right.
And then there really wasn't much Sonic stuff until Sonic Adventure, but I couldn't afford a Dreamcast, so I didn't play that until... It was when I finally played Sonic Adventure. I got caught up because I was planning on getting a GameCube, and they announced that Sonic Adventure 2 was coming to the GameCube. So I thought, well, the Dreamcast has died already, so I can pick one up pre-owned really cheap. So I picked one up with a copy of Sonic Adventure to get caught up before Sonic Adventure 2 came to the GameCube. So that was when I got back into Sonic, which would have been like 2001, I guess. 2002 maybe even.
And that's how you got this far in life, not knowing that Sonic was Santa.
I did. So this is my introduction to this.
Was it all you dreamed and more?
Unless. So what did you think?
Like I said, I really enjoyed the first half, but after they rescued Santa, wasn't having as much fun.
Yeah, I think Santa, if it weren't for me putting together this conspiracy theory about Santa not wanting to succeed, then I think I would have just like had it. Well, no, I didn't enjoy it. This is the thing. I want to say I wouldn't have enjoyed it if that hadn't happened, but I didn't enjoy it even with that happening. I thought it was pretty dumb. If they were gonna make this a continuation of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, I wish they had been more true to the feel of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
This looked worse than Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, but I'm assuming that's just, they didn't have the budget. Because original Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog had a lot of really nice looking episodes because they had TMS working on it. TMS is the studio behind DuckTales, Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, Batman the Animated Series. They're really good. But they were at the time. Like, I think Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli got his start working at TMS, actually.
Wild.
So they were doing high quality stuff. So to have them working on Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, even if, it was a lower budget version of their work, made it much better to look at than this was. I couldn't find out who animated this, but it definitely wasn't them.
Yeah.
Robotnik was barely in this, really, which I thought...
Kind of a shame, since he was the one that stole Christmas.
I know, and he, for me at least, he always was the highlight of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Long John Baldry's Robotnik, I could just watch all day.
Yeah, you talk about him all the time.
I know, and it's such a shame that they got Long John Baldry back here and then kind of barely utilized him.
Yeah.
He was a much less hands-on Robotnik than what Adventures of had. Usually. No coconuts, also a minus.
We got a lot of scratch and grounder, though.
We did get a decent amount of scratch and grounder, which was nice. But too much Santa, too much Sonic.
Too much Sonic in my Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon.
Yeah. It's weird. I feel like... You know what it is? It's the pace. The pace of this is slower than Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog usually was.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the first half, the pace feels like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's very fast. We roll from one thing to the next pretty quickly. But as soon as we get to Santa, even before we get to Santa, it slows to a crawl.
That's probably what it is. Because it feels like, compared to a normal episode of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, it feels like nothing happens in this.
Yeah.
Whereas usually, like, there's so much happening you can barely keep up with it. And I love that, like, frantic, absurdist pace.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this feels much more normal than Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog did.
For sure. Less cartoon physics.
Yeah, Adventures of was like absurd and wacky and wild, and you never quite knew what was going to happen. Whereas this is a fairly by the numbers Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the pacing of this feels more like one of the like later Mario cartoons that Deke made. And that's not why I like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I like it because it's nuts.
Because it's crazy.
So anyway, yeah, I will not be joining the other fans in considering this part of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Just out of spite.
This is a weird. This is its own thing, as far as I'm concerned.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I like it.
I like half of it.
Yeah, more Robotnik, please. If Sega, if you ever commission a second of these, following on from this one, where Sonic is Santa, obviously.
That's canon now. You can't take that back.
No, that's forever. Oh, but they can't because Long John Baldry is dead now.
Oh, R.I.P. King.
I know.
Do
Yeah.
you think there's a decent impersonator out there?
I wonder if there's anyone out there who can do a decent Long John Baldry Eggman voice. There must be, right?
Somebody on this planet can do it.
There's only but I wonder if they know.
Or if this is a dormant gift that they're going to discover.
I wonder if they've ever discovered their talent.
Well, first they need to climb Mount whatever, and then they have to snowboard down.
And then hang glide to a bike.
And then save Christmas. And voila! Long John Baldry. As bequeathed by Saint Nick himself.
Oh, please, everybody do it, just in case. We must
We need to find his successor
before it's too late.
before Christmas is ruined forever.
That's the funny thing about Robotnik, right? There have been so many different voices for Robotnik, and all of them are great. But I think Long John Baldry, I think, is my favorite of all of them.
He's pretty good.
I guess we're done.
Yeah, we saved Christmas.
What's the legacy of this? Sonic is Santa Claus.
Every piece of Santa merch that you see in stores, that's Sonic the Hedgehog under there.
Or it should be. If it's not, complain to the merchant.
The merchant! Merchant, I have a complaint about your wares.
This is not Santa. What's wrong with it? Well, Santa is 3'3", blue and spiky.
Runs really fast.
How does you think he delivers all those presents?
I bet this one doesn't even like chili dogs.
There's no chili dogs in this.
I've opened the belly of my Santa Claus and there isn't a single chili dog.
Well, I meant in this short, but but now I love the idea that every dancing Santa you see in a supermarket is filled with whatever Santa's favorite food is.
Milk and cookies, obviously.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. That is canon, huh? When I was a kid, we also used to leave out a carrot for the reindeer.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice to think about them. Although there are like 12 of them and we left out one carrot, so...
I think we would do baby carrots and do one for every reindeer.
Oh, that's way cuter. We just left out one big carrot.
Fight amongst yourselves.
Santa decides who eats this day.
And the best reindeer this year was Prancer yet again.
Oh, boo, rigged.
Prancer's enormously fat, just eating all of the carrots.
Prancer was the first one, so Santa's just like, oh, he's such a good boy. I don't even mind that he shits all over the house.
How could I say no to that face?
Oh, thanks for joining us, everybody.
On this wet and wild holiday special.
It was extreme.
To the max.
Oh, I think Sonic actually did say, like, have an extremely good Christmas or something at the end.
Sonic didn't only wish us a good Christmas this year, he said for the rest of your life.
Oh, did he?
Because he's Santa Claus.
Well, yeah, he's gonna make sure.
Because if you don't...
They didn't have time to change that line at the end, so they couldn't change it to, like, I hope your Christmas is a blast!
A Sonic 3D blast in stores this Christmas.
I hope every Christmas from now on you have a 3D blast. Flicky's Island.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Happy Christmas, or whatever other holiday you might celebrate. Or just, Saturday.
Isn't it on a Monday?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh.
This episode will be on Saturday.
Oh. See, I don't know when this show airs. I just show up, I say some words, and then I go back to sleep for a week.
That is, for anybody wondering how accurate that is, pretty damn accurate.
Excuse me, I work tirelessly on this show.
If you'd like to drop a Christmas gift in our laps and run away at sonic speed, head to patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub. or coffee.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub. Those are the two places we accept money.
But we accept friendship everywhere.
We do, and you can come check out my streams if you want to chat to me live, or join my Discord. The streams are an easy place to join the Discord, where you can talk about the show with us more directly. If you don't feel like leaving a comment on YouTube, or I don't even know what you can do with a podcast. If there are comments on podcasts, I don't know where they are.
You're screaming into the void at this point.
You could leave us a review, or you could tell your friends about us.
Those are things we accept as Christmas gifts.
Yeah. Thank you to Jamie Core and my mom for being our Christmas patrons.
They get the biggest Christmas present. Our friendship.
Mario Christmas, everyone. Bye.
I did also like that Scratch, as he was dropping the giant Christmas present, said Merry Crushmas.
I forgot about that.
It was a good one.
I love Scratch.
He's my favorite.
I love Grounded. I think I like Grounder more, but I love both of them.
You know, the whole time I was watching this, I was like, that's literally just me and Mike. But I would be Scratch because I have a shrill and horrible voice, and you would be Grounder because your most noticeable feature is your bulbous buttocks.
I was waiting to see what it was because I was like, is she going to say my conical nose? My interchangeable hands?
You wish.